Hi and welcome back to Garden Ninja for the September garden tour. Now the leaves are starting to turn yellow and fall off the trees. It's a sure sign that autumn is well and truly on its way. I've got a few top tips this month to show you around the garden for things you can be doing in your own gardens at home. So come on, let's get cracking. Now September is the perfect time to either divide herbaceous perennials or move them in the garden. So I've got a few specimens in the exploding atom garden that are just in the wrong place, and I've looked at them this year and thought actually you'd be better suited somewhere else. I've got one plant, the Jerusalem cross, that's just not working in the purple border. So I'm going to lift that today and move it to somewhere else in the garden where it's going to be far better suited in terms of the position and the colour. I'm going to show you how to do that now. Now one of the plants I'm going to move is this, and it's looking a bit dried and crispy, but this is the Jerusalem cross plant, better known by its Latin name, Selene chalcedonica. Bit of a mouthful. Most people know it as the Jerusalem cross plant. You can see down here there's still a tiny little red flower. The reason I'm moving it is that it's just too red. A lot of this border is dusky pink and purple and it just jars. But we've got the perfect position in the centre, over there, in the exploding atom garden, where this will really sing. So September's a great time to move them. Now it's relatively early in the morning, it's not full sun, so you want to move plants when the conditions are kind of ideal. You don't want to do it in full sun or when they're dry. Give them a good water beforehand. So it rained yesterday and it's looking quite damp. I'm going to get a spade and dig this up, making sure I get as much as the root as I can, and then I'm going to cut it back. Cut it back to about 2 inches tall and then plant it on. And that's important, because if I don't cut it back, it's going to be stressed, it's going to be trying to sort of photosynthesize and respire without the existing root system. So by cutting it back, you're just taking the stress off the plant. But let's have a look in some more detail at how I'm going to do that now. If you've noticed there are gaps in your borders this summer, then September is the perfect time to plant them up, because it allows plants to get established before the winter months, and then next spring they're going to start with a boom. I've got a gap here in the exploding atom garden and a few of the spaces around the inner ring, and I'm going to plant them up with a beautiful Persicaria in the leaf, which is going to give late season colour, and it's a kind of reddy pink that's going to burst out against all these yellows and oranges. So check these out. These are Persicaria and they're known for their late summer colour. And they're absolutely beautiful. I've got some gaps in the central border, and I thought by adding these, the pink and the red of these flowers is really going to pop against the yellow, and it will just help this border last a little bit longer during the season. So I'm going to pop maybe 3 of these in each of the borders, and then over time as they develop and get bigger, as the seasons pass, I can divide them maybe every 2 or 3 years and get even more of them and sort of interweave them throughout this border. I think they're going to look absolutely gorgeous. So it's about time to harvest my winter squashes. Now I don't know about you, but during Corona I decided to pretty much sow any old odds and sods of seeds that I had inside the house, and had a packet full of mixed winter squashes. Now I've had some success. I've had about 4 on a couple of plants. We've had quite a few that have been nibbled by mice, haven't they, Barry? But today is a perfect day to harvest them, and the way to tell whether they're ready with winter squashes is if you carefully lift them and you tap them, they sound hollow. What I'm going to do next is, with a sharp pair of secateurs, I'm going to cut 2 inches above the very top of the squash and sever it from the plant, and then I can take it inside and it will quite happily keep, provided that there's no damage, for a couple of months in some cases, or more than likely I'm going to cook it. Now the prairie garden behind me that I planted about 2 years ago is looking really good and mature. It's really well established. All those grasses are kind of just kissing each other. We've got things like the helenium behind me. We've also got the white swan echinacea down there, which really pop out. But I do have a set of rudbeckias that are in the border at the very back there, and they've become quite cramped. So I think what I might do, and I'll probably do it next month now, once this kind of settles down, is split some of those and pop them in when they're dormant, just to bring a bit more of that yellow through the prairie border. And that brings me on to an important point, which is no matter how much gardening you do, no matter how adept you are at gardening, it's all about editing and changing. So I've started out with one plan for this. Parts of it have worked, parts of it not so well. So I'm going to edit it. And it's a really good idea, especially in September, to make notes about what you want to move, what's worked, what maybe hasn't. And then throughout the next couple of months, you can start to edit the garden whilst everything's asleep, moving things around and planning ready for spring. Now you may remember that I did a guide as to how to hard prune cornus or dogwood, and you do that late winter. And I know a number of you commented that you were nervous that it was quite a brutal method, but I did assure you that it does work. So if you've seen that guide, you remember I took them pretty much back to the ground. And look behind me now, if I move forward, you can see just how big that cornus shrub has grown. So they really will respond well to hard pruning. It's a good way to keep them in a neat, tidy shape and also ensure those really vibrant colours during the winter months, which again brings me back to planning, because if you've got shrubs like this, not only provide foliage during the summer, they will also provide winter interest. So it's worthwhile doing your research on your plants to see how many seasons of interest you're going to get from them. And that brings us neatly to the end of the September garden tour here at Garden Ninja HQ. If you notice behind me, there's still a few apples left on the trees that I'm probably going to harvest this weekend and maybe make a nice apple crumble. If you've liked this video, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, where there are over 100 garden design hints, tips and hacks to help you make your garden awesome. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button below to get notifications, and if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. I've been Garden Ninja. Happy gardening.